All right, guys, so in this video, we're going to be going over whether we should be training with heavy weights or light weights. Which one's the best, which one's the worst, why you should be training with each, why you shouldn't be training with each. Um, so yeah, let's get into the video. All right, guys, so when we're talking about training with light weights and with heavy weights, this actually goes back kind of to like the video that I was talking about before. I had a video on the two different muscle groups, the muscle fibers, slow twitch and fast twitch muscle fibers, which I highly recommend you guys go watch. And it's pretty much relates all to that. What are your goals? What are you trying to train for? When we're training with light weights, we're training the endurance aspect of the muscle. It also goes back to the law of specificity, which I've said in a lot of my previous videos. We're training for overall endurance, the muscle getting more reps in. And if you're doing 100 push-ups, you'll be better at doing 100 push-ups. So it doesn't mean you'll be better at doing push-ups with weights. When we increase the weight of the muscle of the workout, or we increase the load, this puts a little bit more pressure on the joints, a little bit more pressure on the ligaments, but it increases more explosive power and it increases the amount of fast twitch muscle fibers. If you're training for a sport where you need to be moving quick, moving fast, you need quick, fast movements, not really too intense on cardiovascular needs, training with heavier weights will be better. Although I really want to specify this, you want to always train with good form. Heavy weights is the most weight that you can do with a good form. Always leave your ego at home behind. If you're training at home, leave it gone. Make sure you don't have an ego when you're training, because it messes up with your workout routine and it messes up your performance, and you get high quality performance. So don't do that. You'll get injured. You'll get injured very easily. There's a lot of injuries, a lot of things that have gone wrong. People have hurt themselves. People have died training because they go for one rep maxes. And especially if you do it without a spotter, if you know you're going to push hard for a training set, you have to have a spotter. Very important, guys. I really want to highlight this point because there's been too many people who get injured. They're training, they don't know what they're doing, they get injured, they hurt themselves. And I don't want anyone to get injured, so let's try to avoid that. But yeah, so when we're doing our training with lower weights, lower weighs less, we can always increase the reps, increase the movements. This increases the endurance of the muscle. So, for example, if you see boxers, they train with very light weights and they're punching the air with like 2 pound weights. The reason they're doing this is to increase the muscular endurance, because you'd be surprised how hard it is. I have a friend of mine who trains in boxing, and he made me go through a little sparring session once, where you have to hold your hands up like this. If you're holding up your hands like this, it's super tiring. You're doing it for a long period of time. The boxers have to train for muscular endurance. And then whenever you see them go in for a big power shot, that's where they train for muscular speed. And you can see them. There's this one movement that they do that I was watching. I don't know if you know this one guy. His name is Peter Yan. He's like this UFC fighter. I was watching one of his workout routines, and he goes like this with the weight. So he gets like a barbell, lays it on the floor, and he pushes it like he's going in for a punch. That builds explosive power, fast switch muscle fibers that burn through ATP really quick, but build a lot of force behind the movement. Swimmers too, like swimmers, if you're doing short distance swimming, you want to have good explosive power. Sprinters, track athletes, they want to be training with, you'll see them pushing these sleds, build strong, explosive legs, quick power, very, very useful. More training, slower movements, you're training endurance, light weights, uh, more endurance, longer time spent, typically safer. I'd recommend if you have any joint pain in any area, or your ligaments aren't fully healed from an injury that you had before, you're healing from sort of injury, train with lower weights and try to focus more on developing the slow twitch muscle fibers to really build a base for recovery around your muscles. Even if you are an athlete of some sort, uh, you'll find that this is very useful. And people who train with light weights, I recommend you try training with heavy weights every once in a while. Although remember, good form. Heavy weights as in weights that you can only move 5 to 8 reps with good form. You might not feel like it's heavy when you look at people online, but remember, heavy weights for you is not the same thing as heavy weights for some guy like Larry Wheels, who's a pro powerlifter, super ripped. If you guys don't know, you're not that guy. Or maybe you're that guy, and who knows? All I'm saying is you always want to train to the best version of yourself. Even people like him, like Larry Wheels, if you look through some of his videos, he's been beaten on arm wrestles, and he's not the strongest guy in the world. He's strong, just not the strongest. There's always going to be someone who's better than you in some aspect. So work hard, stay consistent with your training, in whatever you're doing. Because if you train more with high intensity, you like high intensity, it's fine. You can do high intensity with heavier weights. Just be careful. Always have a spotter. Pay close attention to what you're doing. When you're training with lighter weights, um, you don't have as much to worry about. But some people train light weights and they take it too far. They do too many reps, and that can lead to real muscle damage, and actually can lead to less growth in the muscle. What I really recommend is to go for something in the middle. You get the most hypertrophy through going to something in the middle. People go really high reps with light weights, don't get the biggest hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is really from that 12 to 15 rep range. So if you really want to look aesthetic, or if you want to build the most well-rounded muscle, where you can have good amounts of fast twitch muscle fibers, good power, and relatively good endurance, you're not going to be the best at any of them. Because remember the law of specificity. The more you focus onto one specific task, the better you'll be at it. But you'll still be able to be training good, have good weight movement, be able to really push yourself, and be competitive in most aspects. So that's another thing that I'd really recommend considering, focusing on that, because a lot of people want to have that hypertrophy in their routine. But yeah, besides that, this is going to be a pretty short video because it's covering a lot of the similar stuff that I said before. That's the end of the video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys have any advice or any new videos you guys want to see, anything new you want me to record, anything in general, just please let me know in the comments down below. Reach out to me in an email. I'll always open to all channels of communication. And yeah, I'll be here. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.